Right, welcome back. It's finale time on the F-14 Tomcat for Maverick and Goose. Base coat's been put down, detailing, decals and weathering has been done. I've had a few issues that I'm going to tell you about in a moment, but generally I'm really quite chuffed on how the F-14's turned out. So here's the final reveal. Right, so here it is. I'm going to go on shaky cam because the tripod for my camera phone isn't high enough. So there it is, all done. All the markings have been on. You can see there you've got Pete Mitchell Maverick, Nick Bradshaw Goose. I've done a bit of weathering as well and a bit of detailing. It's actually on the wire part of the Tamiya stand because, like I said, I've done this in flight mode. Now when I'd left here, I'd just done the primering. So the base coat that I used, doing a bit of research because I wanted to use Tamiya spray, I've used the Tamiya AS26 light ghost grey. So that's what I used. I also bought some AS25 dark ghost grey, and on my little tester strip I spray painted it on, and I honestly thought that the 25 was a bit too dark, so I went with the 26 in the end. So putting those two up there, so I just sprayed that directly on the primer, sides, top and underneath. Took one main coat and then a few touch-ups here and there, but it's come out really nice. Not too bad. I had an issue with the decals though. If you remember, I bought this set off eBay. This is what's left of it. Now on the instructions that the seller gave me, it said leave them in 20 seconds in the water and then take them off. But the decals wouldn't come off the paper at all. So I left them in for about a minute and a half, and I managed to get them off. But as I was putting I first discovered this problem when I was doing the cockpit with the cockpit decals. I was putting them on the cockpit panels and they fell apart on me. I don't know why. So what I did is, you remember when I contacted Revell for them spare parts that I wanted, I also asked them for the decal sheet. And that's the remnants of the Revell decal sheet. That's why it cost me £10.87. So I've used a combination of mostly off that decal sheet for Revell. And I also picked up an old vintage sheet from Almark Decals. I picked these up off an obscure modelling part seller who sells all like discontinued decals and parts, and it's from 1988, and it's got the same markings as I would use for Maverick, as you can see the VF114. So I used some of those decals because I went back to the navy decals on my custom sheet, and I went to go and put them on the underneath of there, and again, as I was putting them on the model, they tore apart on me and disintegrated. So for the A4 build, I'm getting a bit worried about those decals for the A4 build. I'm trying to source some other decals, but I'm going to probably build the A4 in due course and then try them decals again, and hopefully those won't fall apart on me. Because the only decals that didn't fall apart on me was the helmet decals for Maverick and Goose. So like I said, using the Revell decals, I also got the instruction guide, got that on my phone, and used the colour guide on that. The no step decals is actually 43 of the blighters. Putting those on was a pain in the arse. And then you've got the VF1 insignia decal on both sides of the upper wings. The upper tail fins, I should say. You got them on that side as well. Now, weathering wise, I was going to use charcoal and a combination of some like normal HB pencils, but I came across AK interactive weathering pencils. And I bought 2 sets. I bought the grey and the blue, which as you can see for aircraft. And I bought a black and white as well to simulate that. They're not too dissimilar from the makeup pencils. And there you can see you get like 5 in a set. I think there's 7 sets. And then you get like, you can buy a complete set, which I think is about 40-50 quid, and you get every set and then an extra few pencils. Those cost me £5.40 off eBay per set, and I got them off the same seller. And it was free postage, I believe. Now, what you do is you get a brush, you dampen the brush, put it on the model, and then you mark with the pencil, and then you use your damp brush to manipulate the pencil, because it's like a paint in a pencil, and you just go as light or as heavy as you want. I'm still, you know, getting used to these pencils. It's not the best weathering job in the world, but it's not bad for the first attempt. With the panel lines, I use a combination of I used a bit of the weathering pencils, but I mainly used some black wash and some HB pencils, using my finger to smudge. But getting in the channels was really nice, and as you can see on top of there, it's not looking too bad. But I still need to get used to the weathering pencils. But pick these up pencils if you don't want to do pre-shading. Use these pencils. Right, so I'm just going to pause this video a sec so I can turn it over. Right, using my rolled up towel to put it on its belly. The missiles. This comes in 3 parts. You've got the main missile, the big missile with the missile rack underneath that goes onto the underneath of the wing with 2 holes. I had to widen those slightly. And then you've got the made sidewinder. Now you've got the missile itself, and then you've got like a little piece, like a rack that you connect that to, and then that connects to the main missile rack underneath. That's like what, 3 parts all told. You can see a bit more of the underneath, like intake decals and the navy, beware of blast, and the actual number, the VF114. The VF114 and the navy, I'm off that Almark decal sheet. You got the underneath missile, the belly missiles. I sprayed those because I wanted to make use of the AS25 spray that I didn't use. I sprayed those in the AS25, and then just got my 1mm masking tape and put the lines on, and I painted the tips in the white. You've got the actual deck hook. Now you get decals for those with the Revell sheet, but I just painted them by hand, freehand. To be honest, weathering on the belly, I didn't really do that much. I did a tiny bit subtle with the pencils, and then went down the lines again with the black wash and the normal HB pencil. You've got a couple of markings there, but generally there ain't that many markings on the underneath. But not too bad at all. So I'm going to turn this back on its front now with the stand. Right, so turning it back on its front now, back on its belly, back onto the stand. So I'll just give you one last look at the F-14. Not bad at all. So just turning the camera around. I've only been working on this since the end of January, but with the Winter Olympics getting in the way, you know, the bobsled, the luge and the skeleton, missing parts, and just life getting in the way generally, you know, going shopping with my wife every Saturday and various other bits and bobs I've had to do. I know it's took me nearly 3-4 months to do this, but I'm just well chuffed that I took the time to do it. So a little tip for you, try and get those Almark decals if you can. Also try and get the Revell decals unless you build the reissue. I am a bit worried, like I said, for the A4 custom set that I bought, so I'm going to have to address that issue when I come to it, when I come to build the A4. But apart from that, like I said, I'm really well chuffed on how the F-14 has turned out. So as usual, hopefully I haven't bored you too much, and I want to thank you for sticking with me for these last couple of months. I'll put some stills on at the end of this video, and I'll see you fairly soon with the next build. Thank you very much for watching.
I feel the need for speed. Ow!